I know it's been a long time I didn't film a video, and this one will be in English for the simple reason that it will be a series of videos. I'm gonna film 3 of them. The first one, so this one, will be how to prepare your Erasmus. The second one will be how to handle an Erasmus when you will be in your Erasmus. And the last one will be how to manage the end of Erasmus and what can you do after your Erasmus and everything. So I think it's more interesting if I film that in English, because I think I can have a bigger audience. So for me it makes more sense to film this video in English. So this one, the first one, how to prepare your Erasmus. So I have different points, I have some notes just here to see what's important to organize an Erasmus. What do you need, what kind of devices you can take to organize your own trip. So the first one is completely simple. Look for the country or the university you want to go to. It can sound stupid, really, because normally a lot of people think about it before preparing the administration and everything, because most of the people at the university who wants to do an Erasmus already know where they want to go. But you really have to ask yourself, okay, do I want to go in a Spanish country, in an English country, in an Asian country? I don't know, but there's so many countries, and no, Erasmus is not only in Europe, it's also all around the world. It's Erasmus Plus now, so it means that you can go almost everywhere, and not only when you're a student, but it's not the topic of the video, but so you can go almost anywhere you want. So indeed, it's easier when you travel in the European Union, because it's the same currency for most of the country. For the jet lag, it's also easier, but where do you really want to go? If you want to go on the other side of the world, it's your choice. No one can judge you or can say, okay, no, it's not a good idea or stuff like that, because in any case, both you travel in Europe or in another continent, you will learn about yourself and everything, like I said on my previous video in English that I put just here, I don't know. But yeah, that's the most important. And of course, which university you want to go to, because there's some universities which are really prestigious, other university you have to pay money to go to. For example, in the US, sometimes you have to pay some fees and everything. And there's university where you can do some lectures that you cannot do in others university. You know what I mean? So you really have to focus on what do you need, what do you want to study, where you want to go. If you want a hot country, a cold country, anything. It's the basic thing to think about before an Erasmus. Then when you have the country you want to go to, the university you want to go to, you have to pass an English test. I say English test, but of course it could be a Spanish test, a French test or anything. Except if you are already an English native, you don't have to pass an English test, of course. And when you travel in Spanish country, if you are Spanish, it's the same. First, when I was looking for a university to go abroad last year, 2 years ago now, I wanted to go to Canada, and there was some university in the French part of Canada, so I wouldn't need a test or anything. So think about it, which test do you need, if you have to prepare it or not. This kind of tests are not always easy for everyone, like me for example. So think about it, which test do you want to pass and everything. It's really important. Be ready to have the test. Some university ask for the TOEIC, the TOEFL, the IELTS, LTS, anything. You know what I mean? Or sometimes it's whatever you want. So you have to think about it and to see which test you need to have. Then when you have your languages test, you need to do everything's boring, like the administration, the papers that you have to send to your home university, to your Erasmus university. It's really boring. It could be a little bit difficult if you are not fluent in the language, because it's really specific language. So it's not the best part, but you have to do this. The administration part is yes, boring, but it's also the part where you can realize that you're gonna travel in another country for your university, for your study. This is the time, most of the time, this is the time when people are like, okay, I'm gonna travel abroad for my study, because this is boring. So you're like, okay, that's boring. I don't like to do administration and everything. But at the same time, you're like, okay, why am I doing that? I'm doing that to study abroad and to live the best experience of my life. So it's not the best part, but you need to do it. That's important. And don't forget anything. Really, that's really important, mostly if you travel in another continent or in a country which is not in the European Union, because sometimes there's some different rules you have to follow. So good luck with that. I did that, a lot of people did already, so you can do it. When you did everything about administration, the papers and everything, what can you pack? Like, imagine you're like a month or 3 weeks before leaving in Erasmus, what you're gonna pack. Are you taking a suitcase, 2 suitcases, a backpack? What are you gonna pack? I'm gonna do another video about it, I think, but for me the best thing is to have a backpack and a suitcase, because 2 suitcases is really hard to have with you, mostly when you're alone. A backpack is really, really useful. So think about it. What can you take with you? If you are living during 1 year or even a semester, you are gonna buy some clothes, some shoes, some makeup, some souvenirs, anything. You are gonna buy some stuff. So don't pack too much, because you're gonna have even more at the end. So think about it, because you have some rules to follow when you're gonna travel by plane, for example. Yeah, like you don't have to have more than 20 or 25 kilos, depending on the company. But think about it, because like I know some people, and I did as well, but there's people worse than I about it. There's some people who pack for like 35, 40 kilos just for 1 semester, because I had 35 kilos for a year, and there's some people who pack more than I, and at the end it was a little bit hard to pack everything. Or I have some people who pack less than I, and at the end it was terrible because they bought a lot of souvenirs, and big souvenirs. The best thing for me is to pack only, when you live for 1 year, is to pack only clothes and shoes, depending on the season where you're gonna live. If you live in winter, it's more useful to pack only winter clothes and shoes. Of course, a little bit of summer clothes and shoes, of course, but not a lot, because you're gonna buy some, for sure. Same if you live for 1 semester, try to not pack all your clothes, because most of the time people are like, okay, I'm gonna live for 6 months, I have to have 6 months of clothes and shoes. No, it's not true. I'm here for a determinate period of time, and I don't have a lot of clothes. I have the same amount of clothes and shoes. So it doesn't serve anything to have a lot of clothes because you live for 6 months or 1 year. You don't need more clothes because you live 1 year than 6 months. You know what I mean? So be careful about it. Something you maybe don't think about, but is change your current currency if you need. If you live in another country like the US, England, or other country which is not a European country, which use euros money, think about changing a little bit of money, because maybe you can just pay by card. Sometimes you don't have fees or taxes, it depends on your card, but it's always good to have a little bit of cash on your wallet, because you never know what could happen. It's just a little advice, but I think it's important. The last advice I can give you to prepare your Erasmus, and I think it's one of the most important advice with the administration one, of course, it's to prepare you mentally. It means that you should be ready in your mind to leave your country for a certain period of time. Like, you have to know that yes, you will miss some birthday, some parties, some event in your country. It's not for the worst, of course, it will be for the better, and you will know that when you will be during your Erasmus. But even if you will think about it, you will think about, okay, today that's my mom's birthday, that's my sister's birthday, oh, my brother's gonna be a dad or something like that, and you will miss some event like that. I know that it's not some random example that I give you, it's real example that I had in my life in Malta, not for me, not especially for me, but for some of my friends. And it's not always easy to say, okay, I'm in another country to enjoy my life, but I miss a lot of events, a lot of stuff in my country. But it's not that it doesn't matter, because of course it's matters, because it's your family, it's your relative. But it's for the best, because you will live the best experience of your life in Erasmus. You will meet amazing people, and you will live your own events. You will live your own important stuff in your life. You will enjoy the life differently than if you would stay in your country. But if you're not ready mentally to live your family, to live maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend, if you don't talk about it with your relative and your family, maybe you won't be ready in the same way. You have to know that you can call them, you can message them all the time. I mean, if they are available, you can do that. But at the same time, you have to know that life keeps going in your country. It's not because you're not with your family, it's not because you're not with your friends that life stops in your country. You know what I mean? Everything continue, and lives continue, and even your life continue. But it's important to know that, how do you say that without being mean? You're not the center of the world, and I know you don't think that about you. I know, and I didn't think that about me, but it's hard to think about the fact that when you will be back in your country, some stuff could change. And that doesn't matter, because that's gonna be your life. Maybe if you already living by yourself for a few years, like I did in Malta, maybe you will see things differently, because you already miss some event from your family or your relative in general, because you live by yourself. But when it's your first time living by yourself, it can be hard, mostly when you're young. So that's the best advice that I can give you. Prepare you mentally to live and to miss some event, and talk about it with your family and your friends and your boyfriend and girlfriend if you have one. It's important. It's really important, and I think we all need that to survive better to this experience, because it's gonna be your life in general. Maybe in your future you won't live near your family or your friends, so that's just life. And mostly when you're in Erasmus, you don't see your future in your country, or at least in your region. Like I say that again because my friends said that to me, but you can do that, of course. I don't judge. Just to say that most of the time you see bigger when you live in Erasmus. You see bigger than just your country and your city. I think I told you everything I needed to tell. Hope that helped this video, because I know it's not always easy to organize an Erasmus and to know what you're gonna do, what you have to do, what you don't have to do. But it's just an experience of life. So you're one out of a million to do that every year, living in Erasmus. So everything's gonna be okay. Like really, everything's gonna be okay. I did this. I met like 1,000 people who did this in Malta, either for an internship or just living to work abroad and don't have any other plan than just working. And I think that's even harder. But yeah, you're not alone. And if you have any question or anything you want to tell me, just message me on Instagram or in the comment part below. Don't hesitate, because that's a big change to live in Erasmus, both for a semester or a year. So don't hesitate. Maybe I forgot some stuff. Maybe my friends from Erasmus will message me or put a comment to tell me that I forgot this or this, because it's hard to write a video when you are not in Erasmus anymore, when you did everything like 2 years ago. I can't believe it was 2 years ago. Hope it helped you. We'll see in another video really soon. I hope really soon, because I'm not really square like now.